Well, that was interesting to say the least. So Jordan Peele's new movie Us is out, and it follows a kind of normal family who's just trying to have a good time on their vacation, and all of a sudden, a family that looks exactly like them shows up and starts terrorizing them, and that's how this whole thing gets kicked off. So starting off with the positives, the casting of this movie was great. The acting was on point, particularly from Lupita Nyong'o. She stole the show in this movie, playing two completely different characters. You got the normal human character, and then you got the doppelganger character, who are vastly different. And you see from scene to scene, you see one of her characters, and then you see the other, and they're just so much different. And she's so just immersed, and she disappears into both of those roles that you're like, wow, you completely believe that this is two separate people. And the rest of the cast was great as well, including Winston Duke, who most people probably know him from Black Panther as M'Baku, and he does a really good job as the kind of stereotypical dad in this movie. He's a guy who's always telling dad jokes and trying to be funny and trying to fit in with the culture of the kids these days. Just all the kind of stuff like that. And Winston Duke just also disappears into this role, completely different from M'Baku. You don't see M'Baku at all. You see this actual current dad who's being how a lot of dads are. So it makes perfect sense. And then you got his doppelganger character, which is a guy who's a big dumb guy who hardly can even speak. So just two, again, completely different characters, and Winston Duke does an amazing job with that. Even the kids in this movie were great. Evan Alex, I believe, was the boy's name, and Shadidi Wright Joseph, I think, was the girl's name. I hope I said that right, but both did an amazing job. All these characters had to, throughout the movie, portray two completely different characters. They're normal human characters, and then they're kind of ridiculous, over-the-top, copy doppelganger characters, and just everyone all around did such a great job with that. This movie has some genuine moments of real tension and intensity and horror, particularly once the kind of home invasion part of the movie starts, where the doppelganger family first shows up. Everything from then on for about the next half hour to 45 minutes up until kind of the start of the third act, that's all great, because you got the doppelganger family trying to kill the real family, and then the real family's trying to figure out ways to outsmart the doppelganger family because they're not human and might not be as smart as them, even if they're stronger or whatever, and they have to figure out ways to get away from them or to defeat them. And all that is pretty cool, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen. You don't really know who's safe and who's not, who could die. So all these scenes you're seeing of them, genuine intensity, some genuine horror, and you're really engaged in the screen and wondering what's going to go on next. So many good moments within that portion of the movie. This movie also does a really good job of building up. From the very first scene in the movie, which I won't give away, but it involves Lupita Nyong'o's character as a kid, and you see a little scene, it's a flashback, and then you get glimpses of that flashback throughout the movie. But what it's doing is it's building up to the ultimate reveal, even if that ultimate reveal might be telegraphed a little more than it should be, and it might be a little easier to figure out than it should be. Still, the build-up is really good, and the kind of hints they give, and the weird moments, and all the different things they spread throughout the first two acts of this movie in order to prepare you for the payoff worked pretty well. Also, this movie has a surprising amount of humor in it, and some of the humor they managed to place pretty well throughout this movie, particularly coming from Winston Duke's character, which was crazy because M'Baku is such a serious character, and then he goes from that to this, completely just disappears into this dad role and does such a great job, like I said before. And he has some genuine moments of dad humor throughout there that works pretty well. Most of the humor that works is from him, but there's a little bit more throughout the movie. Some good humor in it. And that'll just about do it for the positives. Now we're going on to the negatives, and the first thing that comes to mind for me is the third act has some problems. And the reason is the big twist. The very end twist is, I guessed it from a mile away. Basically, after I saw the first scene in the movie, I'm like, okay, so that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to say what it is, because this is a non-spoiler review, but I watched that first scene, and then the way it ends, just kind of abruptly, I'm like, oh, so this is obvious where it's going to end up being, what the big twist is going to be. And then the twist before that, as to show what exactly is going on with these doppelgangers and why they even exist and where they have been this whole time, that was kind of given away at the beginning of the movie too. There's an opening crawl that they show with these words on it, and I'm watching this, I'm like, wait a minute, why are they telling us this? What does this have to do with the movie? I don't understand why they had to show us that, because then it would have made the twist work a lot better if we didn't see this kind of opening crawl and we would have not known what exactly was going on. So when they show that at the beginning of the movie, you're like, oh, so this has something to do with it. And then it kind of gives it away, and you can figure it out pretty easily. So that's a problem. When the main kind of thing that draws people in with this movie is that it's a horror movie, and there's going to be some twists because it's Jordan Peele. And the two big twists in the movie are very easy to figure out, at least in my opinion. Continuing with the third act thing, there's just a lot of things throughout the third act that don't really add up. I had problems with the payoff in Get Out, but I really like the build-up. It's kind of similar in this one, maybe even a little bit worse. There's just so many things that happen in that third act, and you're like, okay, so wait a minute. If this is this, then shouldn't that be that? And there's just way too many things that don't exactly add up, and they don't explain. Not that you need everything explained, but they don't. It's just like, huh? And then some of the things they over-explain, and then they just straight up tell you. So they could have done so many different things with this third act, and I feel like the final product that they gave us just fell a little bit flat to me. Now back to the humor. And while I did say that a lot of the humor landed, a lot of it didn't. I'd say it's probably 50-50. There was a lot of moments in this movie where it should have been really serious, and they should have been like getting in the car and leaving and getting the hell out of there. I'm trying to work on my swearing, because I heard that maybe it, I probably wouldn't be good for kids, but it's really just what I do. It's just kind of the way I talk. It just really means that I'm passionate about stuff, either one way or the other, good or bad. A lot of times it's more leaning towards bad. This is an R-rated movie. I don't know why I wouldn't swear in this review anyway. Just letting you guys know, it's something I'm maybe going to try to work on, but no promises. Again, it's just usually when I'm passionate about something. Most reviewers do swear, so I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm just saying it's one of those things where I can understand why some people don't like it. I completely do, but I can't promise that it's going to go away. And just understand that all it means is that I'm passionate about something, and it just kind of slips out. But anyway, what I was saying is some of that stuff with the humor, they completely take the drama, the tension out of a scene with some of the jokes that they have, kind of similar to like Halloween. And my overall thoughts on this movie are also similar to that movie, but just too much humor, I think. While some of it landed, some of it was in moments where you're like, ooh, I don't know if they should be joking right now. Like they're about to leave because they got to get out of there in the car, and they're talking about who has the highest kill count. Just some of this stuff didn't quite feel right within the moment, and kind of takes you out of it a little bit and takes away some of the dramatic tension. Overall, guys, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of let down by this movie. The trailers were really good. I'm a fan of Jordan Peele. I liked Get Out, even though I had a few issues with it, more issues with it than most people. But I was really looking forward to this movie, and I would definitely recommend it, because there's enough in there. There's enough genuine horror. There's enough real tension. The acting is great. There's enough good stuff in the movie that I would recommend it to people. But there's also problems with some of the third act stuff, and how some of the twists are basically given away and very easy to guess, especially for someone who has seen a movie like this before, this type of movie before. And some of the humor just felt really weird and misplaced to me. So overall, I'm going to give Us a 6.5 out of 10. So there you have it, guys. Have you seen Us yet? If so, what do you think? Yeah, I was a little let down by it, even though there were some good things in it. There was a lot of things that I didn't really like, and I would say it's very similar to my thoughts on Halloween from last year. I was anticipating it so much. They did a lot of things well. Some things I wish they would have not done or would have done better. So there's my thoughts on the movie. Drop a comment if you have your thoughts on it, if you agree, disagree with me. And go ahead and like this video if you enjoyed it. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I post a video. Spread the word, and I will see you soon.